let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to the new season of Brandon's Discuss Anime. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Falinger.
I'm still here. I'm still being forced to watch Kamen Rider things. I'm just glad he gave me a break this time for something else.
You should really watch Futo PI reviews. They're awesome.
Are you trying to hypnosis people through the microphone on the internet? I don't think that's going to work.
A little bit.
I don't think that's going to work.
Also with us, Ryan Stokely.
I don't know what that was. Was that ASMR you're trying to do?
ASMR hypnosis. Let's go.
Subscribe to our channel for mukbangs.
And Orion dying.
We're just going to start doing mukbangs also.
It's a mukbang ASMR, so all you hear is the chomping and the gushing of the food.
Yeah, we'll do if we get to 100,000 subscribers, we'll do a 24-hour mukbang anime.
Mukbang anime. Didn't we already? Well, I guess no, but I was gonna say, didn't we already do that with the fucking Koizumi's ramen?
That's when we just take DVDs of animes and eat them.
Oh god, the shards! They're in my gums.
So guys, speaking about food, do you like Burger King chicken sandwiches?
I haven't had one in forever, so I couldn't tell you.
Same, but the last time I had one there, it was okay.
Do you like big chicken sandwiches?
Oh, the bigger the better.
Eh.
Do you think your phone is bigger than the new Burger King Japan chicken sandwich?
Vertically or horizontally?
Horizontally.
I'm going to guess by the way you phrased this question, the answer is no.
Yeah, I don't think so. My phone's like, I don't know.
Apparently, if your phone is bigger than the sandwich is free.
They must have, measured how big phones are currently, so that would never happen. The only way it would is if you get, older phones, I'm going to assume. Or if your tablet is your phone.
The bun itself has a diameter of about 5.1 inches, and the chicken is shown sticking out from both ends of the bun.
Cool. So wait, are we measuring the sandwich itself or the chicken patty?
The entirety of the chicken?
Yeah, I guess the entirety of the chicken sandwich, since the patty sticks out from the edges of the bun.
Okay, that's what I wanted to confirm. I mean, I like chicken. I don't.
Yeah, I like chicken.
Is it a fucking like a challenge at all to finish it then, or
no? It just seems to be just a big chicken fillet at about 6.5 ounces.
Here's what I'm sitting at, right? I feel like this is their whole, we're like America, here's big food. Because I feel like Japanese people don't tend to have massive helpings of food.
Dude, have you seen Banchi?
No.
Their gyoza is roughly the size, according to the guy talking about it. Their gyoza is about the size of 3 normal gyoza end to end.
So here's what I'm trying to say though, right? Normally, they don't have that, unless it's a specialty thing.
Or a bowl of ramen, because ramen in Japan tends to be big.
It's a giant, it's a soup bowl, so of course it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
I'm talking actual sandwiches and shit.
Right.
Pizzas over there are tiny compared to ours.
Yeah, I think their medium is the size of our small.
Yeah, we were comparing them at one point. I forget what anime it was, but we got down that line of that little tangent took us off for a while. Yeah. I remember that. And we discovered, they have smaller pizzas than ours. What the hell?
Speaking about pizza, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I just thought of it. I saw that Pizza Hut Japan has a new collection called My Box, which is a pun because the word my, M-Y, could also sound similar to the kanji for rice.
Ah.
And it is kind of a rice ball, but flattened out, topped with pizza toppings.
See, I was about to guess, did they just make, like, the bread out of rice?
The article isn't in front of me at the moment, but I think there's 3 different collections of 3 small rice ball pizzas. I think it's like Italian, American, and I think Japanese.
So now I'm curious, actually. I'm curious what it would be like if you made, like, pizza dough with rice flour.
Like mochi.
Yeah, I'm very curious how that would, like, affect the texture.
And the other really wacky thing that I was telling you guys before we started this, that I was like teasing you, during a monkey hunting expedition in Japan, a woman got tranquilized.
So why are you hunting monkeys?
Because one was in an area where it shouldn't be, and they were going to tranquilize it, set it back out in the wild. It was near a train station, so they're like, hey, monkey, you shouldn't be at the train station.
Okay, so it was more like animal control than like actual, we're going out in the woods and just fucking up monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And as a guy was taping up the barrel of his gun to prevent airflow, I don't exactly know what that means, it dislodged and shot a woman in the forearm. She had to be rushed to the hospital because she passed out, and there was enough tranquilizer to knock down a 30-pound monkey. So,
Damn.
yeah. And
I don't
it took her
feel like that would do that much to her, considering she's probably like a good 100 pounds or so.
But it knocked her out for an hour, and it took a little more than an hour after she woke up for her to be fully coherent.
Yeesh. Now she knows how the monkey feels. And the
That's
monkey's just sitting there like, who's the monkey now, fools?
chicken sandwiches, rice pizza, and monkeys.
A lovely combination.
And I was like, should I bring up the rice pizza just for the pun?
How dare you?
Because I know how much you love Japanese wordplay jokes, Brandon.
There's a reason why I just ignored it.
Okay. Who wants to go first on your end?
Let Orion go. I've got to quick grab something.
Okay.
Let's see what I've been up to.
Or anything you've seen, been playing.
Let's see.
Usual stuff.
Yeah, I forget. Have we done an episode since that Prey movie came out?
I don't
Predator
believe
movie?
so.
Saw that. That was really good.
And that's supposedly a prequel to everything.
Yeah, it was, I guess, like the first time they land on Earth. Or, not the first time, but I guess they've been visiting Earth or whatever, you find out. Spoiler alert. Yeah, watch that. I've been playing a lot of Magic Arena and IRL Magic.
Yeah, maybe down the line we may have a Magic the Gathering video about Untapped.
Yeah, that's very fun.
They're gonna force me to learn this stuff, and I don't want to learn.
It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it.
Yeah. Hey, okay, if it makes you feel any better, you can teach me Yu-Gi-Oh! Then.
We'd be learning from like back in the 2015s or something.
Yeah.
Because don't ask me any of the shit that's going on now, because it's just stupid.
Dude, when I stopped playing, like, the card text, you needed a magnifying glass.
Oh man, you don't want to see pendulums then, Orion.
Like,
holy shit.
What was that? I think I stopped playing once they put in the micro, like the robots, I guess. Like,
there are so
probably,
many
like,
of those.
the
Which
third or
one?
fourth, like the first time they introduced them. Like I think like the third or fourth set. That'd be cool. I'd play that. But I would have to use my original deck with like from the first 2 sets.
Hold on, Ryan. I've got something I need to show you.
I know Untapped has Yu-Gi-Oh, so we could do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm dropping this in Discord. This isn't as bad as it can get from what I've seen, but this is pretty bad.
Oh my god.
All the text?
Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. Yeah, I'm good on that.
That's...
So, Magic.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find a worse one.
Three of us can all play at once as well.
I'm sure there's a ridiculously tiny one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what else? I got this game called where is it? Midnight Fight Express. Which is very fun. It's like
there you go, just to make Ryan have a bigger heart attack.
Nirvana High Paladin.
With the tiny text.
Dude, that's so dumb. Yeah, the Synchro. When they brought Synchro in.
Synchro was fine.
No.
Pendulums are where shit got fucking dumb.
Dude.
Like to the point where they had to fucking fix it.
Once they added anything after polymorph.
Fusions?
Yeah, the fusions. Also, the fusion monsters suck. Unless they were like the super rare ones. That's what I don't get, dude. Fucking what the hell is his name? Tony? The dumb New York guy? Joey? His deck sucked. His deck was probably the worst. And his creatures, like, dude, I remember actually playing. I don't remember ever putting any creature with like less than 1800 attack, like a 4-star creature, unless it was like a man-eater bug or something, like a 3-star.
He like fixed that shit for sure. Like you got 4 stars that were like 2000 attack at some points.
Oh really? Damn.
Yeah, they really had power creep where they like completely fixed that. Like in the first season, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Like there was not an actual card game with rules, or like there were barely any rules. It's definitely been fixed.
Is that where Screw the Rules I Have Money comes from?
It's literally because of that type of bullshit. Yeah,
from Pegasus.
Where anime logic takes over and trumps into card logic.
Yeah, Pegasus.
Kaiba.
That's like from I guess
like,
it is Kaiba. Yeah.
Like what was it? For instance, Joey's Thousand Dragon. It's like, oh man, the only way you get out Thousand Dragon is if you use Time Wizard with Baby Dragon on the field.
Yeah, and you get like an extra, like it's worse than...
Time Wizard was one of the worst things. Like, it's fun for the gambling aspect, but like,
it
was basically, hey, you call it right, you destroy their field. You call it wrong, you destroy your own field, and then take half their attack point total in damage.
Yeah.
But in the actual card game, Thousand Dragon is a fusion monster where you use, polymerization to fuse together Time Wizard and Baby Dragon.
Yep.
Rather than this whole random ass bullshit of just gotta call it right. That said, I forget when it was exactly, like in the series, but they came out with Dark Sage, which actually did have that little like caveat of card text about Time Wizard having to work while Dark Magician is on the field. And it's like, this is dumb.
But yeah, that's about it.
So I don't think I've said it on this series here, but I was down in DC for Otakon. I was in Otakon, that's what it was. Picked up some stuff down there. Got some figures, and I also discovered that apparently Zoids have been making a comeback as a model kit. And I picked up a Blade Liger kit that I've been looking for ages that has been ridiculously overpriced online. I may have discovered a new problem.
Oh no, how many more have you ordered since?
See, the Ryan gets it immediately. Well, I currently have 2 other ones right now that are sitting here waiting for me to get to them. I got a Shield Liger that was an improved version of their original Shield Liger, which, from what I understand, was the first one of this series they put out. So I have that sitting there. I also bought a Gun Sniper that arrived earlier this week. That I'm like, I like the Gun Sniper. It's a cool model. And now that's sitting there. I may or may not have pre-ordered 2 more. One that should come in late this year and then early next year. And now I'm eyeballing a couple more. And honestly, part of the reason is that, like, these prices get super scalped, is what I've noticed.
Yeah.
This one is the Storm Sorter is coming out. And I believe online they're running for like $150 or something like that currently.
Where are you looking at?
Most places that aren't in Japan.
Oh.
You know, because like once, well, like even in Japan, honestly, kind of in the same situation. Because they only run a certain set of these, is what it seems like, and then they're like, all right, cool, the supply's out. You can't just buy them anywhere anymore.
Oh yeah.
So, like, they're having to reissue ones that are, like, out of print, essentially. So, this one's here for, like, March.
HLJ, from what I've seen, tends to bump up the price significantly, but then again, they are probably tacking on their import fee.
I mean, they're for in Japan, though.
Oh.
So, that one I'm looking at. And then there's one that's coming out in like November. And I've seen versions of this one that are like upwards of $500.
Where? What? Ooh, that one looks nice.
Yeah, and you want to know the fun part? That thing stands at almost 2 foot tall.
Dude, the way Brandon Faya, ooh, that looks nice.
It stands at literally almost 2 foot tall.
Holy
I think it's like just shy of it.
Holy crap.
And I'm like, oh, but Gojirix is such a cool model. And then it gets worse. Because I've discovered one, customizing these kits. And as I was mentioning to you before we got Orion on, I have picked up a $12 kit for the original Gundam. And I've been like fucking around with customizing it with different things like Sharpies right now. I have Gundam markers that it should be coming at some point today that I'll be testing out on it. And then I find out like a couple of days ago that apparently the Zoid's 40th anniversary is coming around next year, and there's going to be announcements in the fall. And I'm just sitting here like, my wallet's going to die.
Damn.
My wallet's just going to die.
Oh.
It would probably be worth a lot by next year if they're really doing it.
Like I said, they're announcing in the fall. We'll see what they're adding. Apparently, the one that I just sent you was one that was released last year during their anniversary.
Okay.
So now this one's like the reissue where they're like printing more kits. So I'm just sitting here like, oh my god, my wallet. If I buy these things, my wallet will just die. It will be crying, and I'll be sitting here like, but it's so fun to make things. And that Gojirix being a November release means I've got to order it sooner rather than later if I really want it. Or wait until like they have more and it's in stock, one of the two.
There. Your wallet will be okay.
I don't believe it. It's going to cry.
There. Okay. Today's anime. The rebuild of Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
Have you watched Evangelion, Ryan?
Only a little bit. Maybe an episode or two after we did the episodes.
Yeah, which was like 3-ish years ago. We covered.
I don't remember.
Around there.
Yeah, I think it was about 3-ish years ago that we covered the original series and End of Eva, which was really interesting. So, Ryan, do you want to guess how this is different than the original series?
Well, the first series, didn't they like all have Gundam suits or mech suits, right?
Yep, they piloted giant robots called Evas.
Okay. They still do that in this one. I hope, right?
I mean, it's in the title.
Okay. They're except in this one, they're surfers. And they just chill out and catch waves until they're needed.
I mean, there was technically a scene that was basically sky surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's my guess. They're surf ninjas.
Like, yo, dude, my name's Shinji. What's going on, man?
Yeah, like point.
Yo,
break.
Oscar, you need me to put some tanning lotion on your back, bro?
Oh, shut up, you baka!
Yo, Ray, like, what are you gonna do? Just burn over there? Got all this pale skin, girl.
Which,
Dad, do you ever, like, take off those glasses?
which
You're
is
gonna have bad tan lines, bro.
which is kind of interesting because Ano, the creator of Evangelion, says he hopes with this Evangelion will be pushed back into the mainstream, and
You mean it wasn't before?
I'm like half paraphrasing there, and he hopes that it will turn into a Gundam-like franchise where the series can be reinvented in many interesting ways. But as of right now, this is his final involvement in anything Evangelion.
I mean, that series has always had a bunch of random shit coming out. Like, it never stops selling merchandise.
And I think...
So it's never really left the public eye from what I've been able to see.
And I think they had a... Oh, I think it was called Evangelion Campus Apocalypse, where Evangelions were human-sized... Well, not human-sized, but like weapons you can actually hold in your hand, and they were fighting angels, which were like possessed humans. Like, I want to read it, but I didn't ever get a chance to because I think I got sidetracked with something.
It sounds like a dumb idea. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like a really dumb idea.
I think the series only lasted something like 49, 50-ish chapters.
That's too many. That's too many for that concept. That's way too many.
But yeah, I would really like to see different iterations of Evangelion. But this series was announced in 2005. Ano has mentally healed because, if you know, during the original series, he was having some mental issues. I don't quite know. Maybe like depression and stuff like that. So that half inspired the characters and like the whole I want to tear everything of the mecha genre as a whole down to the ground and like rework things. And then I think like end of Eva, he was like partially healed and he's like, okay, this is my true vision for Evangelion. You want it, you won't like it.
And see, my understanding was one, during the original series he was going through heavy depression, hence why Shinji is the way he is. Mm-hmm. And End of Eva was more his answer for like, you know what, fuck you guys. This is what the ending was supposed to be, but we ran out of money.
Yeah, so much, and I think he actually has hate mail from the 25 and 26 in End of Eva during one of the instrumentality scenes.
Well, because like the 25 and 26 are just what the fuck's going on in Shinji's mind, really, right?
Yes.
It completely ignores everything and everything going on in the outside world, which is the problem, because it's like you've built up all of this shit on the outside, all of these things that are supposed to be important, and then you just axed everything other than the like what is essentially a PowerPoint presentation that is the last two episodes.
Yeah, and there is some debate going on if 25 and 26 are canon to Evangelion, and some people say that 25 and 26 occur during the End of Eva's instrumentality scenes.
It could be, because again, all of this is taking place in Shinji's mind, from what I've been able to understand and gather, right? So it could literally take place in seconds while, you know, minutes are going on outside, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It could be like hours in his head that there are only seconds going by outside.
And I haven't read the manga in about 3 years, And I know that has a different story to it too, with like some angels are cut, and I know the ending is completely different. This is a little bit of both. I mean, like, this is 4 movies. Movie 1 starts off as a straight retelling of the series. Movie 2 is different, and movie 3 goes off the rails into its own thing.
Well, let's also point out that there's a completely new main character that's been added too. And from what research I did manage to do, apparently it wasn't something Otto was interested in at first.
Really?
It was the producer who told him, I want a new female character in here. And he's like, okay, I guess. And apparently he had trouble figuring out what the fuck to do with her. He kept running into issues of like, she just keeps being Asuka and Rey again, or way too close to them.
Really?
So he passed it off to his co-producer, or whatever the co was, who was apparently the guy who did FLCL.
Really?
Yep. So our new girl Mari is something that was invented by them. And as the story was going on, Anno was basically like, how do I keep introducing her, and how do I what do I do with her, essentially, right? Her part kept getting bigger and bigger as the movies progressed, in the story.
Because she's barely in the second movie.
Yep. Well, here's the thing, right? The only thing Anno really gave them to go with when he passed it along, from what I gather, is I want her with the concept of destroy Ava. That's it. That's all he really gave. Because he couldn't do much else, or at least couldn't think of much else that wasn't going to just be Asuka, Rey, or something way too close to either of them. Which is why Mari seems to, change personalities as the series, or the movies, I guess, go forward. Switch flips around a lot. At one point, she's happy-go-lucky, and then at other points, she's, vicious and bestial. I mean, just think of, the first time she runs into Shinji, where it's I'ma just, sniff you real good.
What?
Yeah, we're getting into the second movie here, but Shinji is sulking on the roof of his school. Mari comes in on a parachute out of somewhere and just dive bombs him, boobs right to the face, and is oh, hi, don't tell anybody you saw me, okay?
And then she gets right up on his neck, sniffs, and is yeah, you smell good.
You smell like LCL.
Smells like LCL, and then runs off. She's also the only one that actually enjoys piloting an Ava.
Wait, why wouldn't they enjoy piloting Evas?
Well, and Shinji's kind of forced into it, and bad shit happens almost every time he does it. Asuka does it mainly to be I'm the best, to give herself a purpose almost.
Yeah.
And Rey is just here are your orders, do the orders.
My order is to pilot the Ava. I will do it.
Yeah, basically. Because the one person she actually has a human connection with kind of is telling her to do it, and she's yeah, okay.
Oh, and Brandon, did you know there is a pun in the Japanese titles?
I discovered that during my research, yes. I was not pleased when I found out, but I was also not surprised.
Why? Why do you hate puns so much?
In this case, it's because they don't come across at all in the English versions. English titles just don't work with the Japanese puns. So it's completely lost and pointless for us.
Because the Japanese subtitles are Jo, J-O, Ha, H-A, and Q. And that is supposedly also read as K-Y-U, which is a 3-act structure to a Japanese play.
Uh-huh. I think there was also one in there about break, and I think it was number 2. Where it breaks from the way this, the idea being it's breaking away from what the original series was.
Oh, I didn't see that, but that wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. That was another one I saw in there.
If Ha could be also meant as break.
Mm-hmm.
But
like I said, I think it was 2. It might have been 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so movie 1 starts off relatively the same as episodes
1 through like
I believe
6.
6, yeah. Except the angels have been moved up a number.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like we lose the first one that normally would show up.
Actually, the first fight was the first one from the series.
Yeah, but was the number different?
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Okay. Although they do have names in the original series that you could find, like Ramiel Samshiel, technically, in Rebuild, the angels do not have names.
Oh, that's a lie. Kaoru's still here.
Yeah, Faru is still there, but he's not called Tabirus,
They don't give him that name, no.
which is his angel name.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's different in here in general.
Not so much in the first one, though.
Not as much, no. But, like, details are different, right? Like, I forget what if Seal pops up in here, but they show up, and it's like, they're different. The design's different that's on the monoliths. Like, little things that are, like, just poking at, like, this isn't the same. Just enough to, like, catch the interest, but not enough to, like, be overt.
And instead of running away to a movie theater and meeting... who's the nerdy friend with glasses?
Kensuke?
Yes. Instead of meeting him out in the forest, Shinji goes to a red light district and...
literally sleeps overnight there, in, like, cardboard boxes.
There's that. Although, like, some of the angel designs got updated, like the sixth angel...
I thought that one was almost completely different.
Like, that one was still, like, a 8-sided die.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different one then, I think. It's the one that, has, like, the moving core.
The clock one?
No, the one that has, like, the giant, what was it? It's got, like, the weird, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. It's where it took all 3 of them to bring it down. Working together, that one.
The Moonstrike one.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah, that one in movie 2 was completely different.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah. Because I'm like, that is a completely new one. That didn't exist before.
I mean, the episode that is based on, there was an angel that fell from the sky about to bomb everything, but its design was completely changed. But the 8-sided die one, that is entirely, like, CG now with, like...
Yeah, and I'll be honest, sometimes the CG doesn't look good. There are points where it gets very distracting. Other times it's really good and it mixes really well.
But then again, the first one was 2007, so...
I'm not even talking about the first one, I'll be honest.
Oh.
Even the last one I had, like, some hiccups where I'm like, that's not great.
Yeah, but the thing is, this was supposed to be out in 2007, 2008, and then I couldn't find anything after that. Even going back to the Wayback Machine, around 2006, the other 2 were still to be determined. So I'm guessing they were planning on having it maybe 2010, but so many delays happened. So many delays. Anno got other projects, like Shin Godzilla.
Sounds like a lot of bullshit to me.
Yeah, but this was his vision, his true vision for Evangelion, that he's like, no, I want to tell the story again. This is what I truly want Evangelion to be. Oh, look, shiny thing!
With a character that the producers told him he had to put in. His true vision.
Yeah. So, Ryan, do you want to guess how the second movie is different?
Let's see. I guess they have different mechs.
There's like one.
Yeah, and I think, was it at this point, or was it in the third one, that Ava Unit 2 kind of got redesigned?
I think it's in the next one.
Okay.
Because this is the final section where it gets torn apart, I think.
Mm-hmm. And
Actually, no, it's done. It's in the third one. Yeah, because this is the one where Unit 2 gets put away for a bit.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh man, we can only have 3 Ava units, and we have 3 now, so we got to put this one on ice for a minute.
Yeah.
Due
And
to, the United Nations treaties or whatever.
the Vatican Treaty, I believe.
Vatican, that's the one.
Yeah. And I believe all of the Avas have slight redesigns from their original series.
Yes, I believe there's more yellow on 01 this time.
Yeah, and I believe more purple, too.
I'd have to look closely on that, but the yellow was what stood out since it was a new color. Other than the eyes. I think the eyes were the only yellow thing in the original.
But there is still I think it's 13th in the original, which was the computer. No, not the computer virus. The parasite.
You're thinking of 6. 5 or 6, that was the one.
Yeah, so there's still the parasite angel that morphs the AV Unit 3 into an angel. There's still that, except this time, Asuka's the pilot.
Yeah, it's not random ass Toji this time. It is Asuka.
So, Toji really has nothing to do with the plot this time around.
Let's also point out that Asuka decides to do this because Shinji and Rei are getting real close together. Oh man, they're gonna be a couple. And Asuka's jealous.
Yeah.
Doesn't get in and is like, you know what, fuck it. May as well, I guess. Let it happen. Literally, as I like to call the second movie, this is the harem movie. Because there's so many harem tropes that pop up in this.
Oh, and one thing that I was reading about this that I don't think happened in the original, when an angel dies, a rainbow appears.
There's also the weird cross thing, which I don't remember if that was always a thing. Did they always have the cross explosion when they died?
I think that only happened once or twice in the original series.
I only remember it happening near the end, when Third Impact was happening at the end.
But
I don't remember it happening when just the generic angels were dying.
Wait, what's Third Impact again?
The end of the world, basically.
Okay.
Yep.
Where in End of Ava, everybody became Tang.
Delicious LCL Tang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should also point out, here's a fun one. I don't think this happened before, but Shinji literally reenacting how Gendo saves Rei.
That did happen.
I think that was in movie
episode
1.
6.
Yeah. Oh wait, he did that in the original series?
Yes, he did.
Okay, I didn't remember that happening like that before then.
I'm 99% sure that it did happen.
We also did see Kaoru. Sorry, I'm going back through my notes because I didn't have it open before.
Yeah.
We did see Kaoru at the start of at part of movie 1. We had a small scene and he mentions about making Shinji happy this time, which is interesting. Which means he has his fucking memories.
Actually, him saying that I will make you happy happens at the end of movie 2.
Is it? Because I have in my notes that this is in movie 1.
Maybe
not that exact line, but it's enough. Whatever he says in there is enough to be oh, Kaoru is still aware of shit that happened previously.
Because I remember at the end of movie 2, he says, Shinji Ikari, this time I will truly make you happy. And that's how movie 2 ends. Movie 1, I believe he says, oh, it seems that the third child is the same, or something like that. Or
whatever it is, it acknowledges that he knows who Shinji is, and that this has happened before almost.
Yeah, but I do know he says something about Shinji at the end of the first one, when he's still on the moon, and number 2 is when he comes down to Earth.
Okay, so here's the other thing, too, that I noticed. So, according to my subtitles that I was watching, I don't know if you were watching the dub or the sub for these.
I was watching the sub, and part of the way through the third movie, I'm just I should really be watching the dub to see if Spike Spencer can still scream like he used to.
One of the other things I noticed is that in the after credits sequence of one, they talk about Shinji mentally deteriorating, but I have a note here that's like, I'd argue the opposite, considering he actually has a connection with Rei, not to mention like a strong connection with like Kensuke and Toji at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that's mental deterioration right now. I feel like he's fine. We also notice that in this, that when Kaoru wakes up, there's a bunch of... He seems, one, to be on the moon. Two, there's a bunch of fucking coffins.
I was wondering about that too.
Which, my notes, at this point at least, because I didn't go back through them after I finished the movies, my notes at this point were like, does that mean, like, each of the angels have an actual human form before they, like, become whatever their shape is? And then, like, later on, I think I realized that, like, no, for whatever reason, the moon itself must stay consistent or something. Because I think those are all different Kaorus.
Huh.
Like, different bodies for Kaoru. And his consciousness just transfers between them.
Huh. So, Ryan, you know how the entire original series was about preventing Third Impact?
Yes.
This second movie ends with Third Impact.
Halfway through and the end of the world is happening.
The fuck? Wait, and you said there's a third movie?
And a fourth!
And the
Yep.
fourth? So they build a time machine and reverse it.
Oh, right. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm going through my movie 2 notes now. So, there's a fun joke that I mentioned that I really liked.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, remember Pen, Misato's lovely little penguin friend
Oh
that
my
she lives with?
god, this one!
So, when Shinji first moves in with her, there's a scene of him running out of the shower, or, before he got in, because there's a penguin in the shower. And all it is just a stack of beer cans hiding his dick. And Misato takes one off as they're talking and starts drinking it, and instead there's just a smaller one there behind it, continually hiding his dick. There's a repeat of this joke when Asuka moves in. And it happens the exact same way, except instead of when Misato pulls away the first can and there's a smaller one, now there's a straw hiding her dick. I'm like, oh, that's a good visual. I love that. That's great.
I found that hilarious as well.
Oh, man. Other thing, I forget if we ever found out in the original, but do we ever hear what the tape is that Shinji is continually listening to?
No.
Okay, so we never found out in the original and we never find out here.
Because we find out his cassette player used to belong to Gendo.
That's also a thing, yep. Product placement! Forgot about these. First movie, plenty of Frito-Lay products. And beer, like Japanese beers. Second movie, we got New Balance shoes, boys.
And did you notice that on the bottom floor of Nerve, I'm not too sure if it was Nerve or wherever they were at, but there is a Lawson.
A what?
Lawson, which is a Japanese convenience store.
Ah, didn't know that.
I thought it was supposed to be a Nerve lunchroom up on the second floor, and you saw like a Lawson department store over somebody's shoulder prominently displayed, and I'm like, so is the Lawson inside Nerve?
I guess, I don't know. Also should point out, Unit 6 is apparently being built on the moon, where Kaoru is.
Yeah. And up until the original series, they didn't have any units past 4, because 3 got possessed by an angel, and 4 got blown up by a faulty test.
Uh-huh.
So this movie, with these movies, introduces a bunch more Avas.
Yes, and in part, that's also because, like... So here was the other thing I was curious about. I forget if this is my movie 2 notes or not, or if it was back in 1 and I skipped it. Was Nerve always a global agency? Because I had always assumed it was just, like, the Japanese branch of something else. And they just called themselves Nerve.
No, Nerve was worldwide, because they had a branch in New Mexico, and that's where Unit 4 blew up.
See, I didn't think that was a Nerve thing. I thought that was, like, just the other branch of whatever Nerve was part of. I thought Nerve was specifically the Japanese branch, and then whatever other branch there were that were working on the Ava units was a different name. That's how I had always assumed, because I don't remember there being like nerve monikers in like New Mexico or whatever whenever we saw outside of Japan.
Well, this is in the original series. It says NERV is an international organization with its center of operations being held in Tokyo 3.
Okay. I wasn't sure of that. Just because I didn't remember we barely ever get out of fucking Japan when we were in the original series. So yeah, Asuka got, like, fucking destroyed, essentially, because Shinji was forced with a dummy plug to fucking end the corrupted unit. Also, Avis have a beast mode now. I think Anno saw Darling in the Franxx and was like, I want to do that.
They technically kind of did in the original series beast mode, where the Ava became kind of sentient on its own. Like,
I assumed that was Berserk mode. This one is literally getting down on all fours and like growing tails and beast parts.
Yeah, like that beast mode into like something else, but I believe in the technical notes of things where it goes berserk is called beast mode, but I'm maybe misremembering things from when I was looking it up years ago.
Well, that's also strange because now that means they have like 3 different modes at this point, at minimum. Because we've seen like what is essentially an ascended mode at the end of this movie. We've seen the controlled like humanoid mode, and now we have a beast mode
and a berserk.
Well, yeah, 4 then if you're going to include the berserk, yes, which is just like out of control, like literally I'm going to eat you kind of things.
Oh, and speaking about eating, an angel eats an Ava.
Delicious.
Wait, what?
One of the angels eats an Ava.
So yeah, we should also point out, like, are we skipping into 3 right now or no?
How big are angels?
Depends.
Yeah, they vary.
There was one in the original series that was, I would maybe say, it must have been like twice the size of an ostrich egg, since it was embryonic at that point.
There's Kaoru, who's an angel, who is literally just a human kid size. He's imitating a human.
There was the 3rd angel, or the 4th one, in the rebuild, which was the size of an Ava, and Avas are like, maybe 25-ish stories tall?
Maybe bigger, it's hard to say.
Yeah, there is one that was, I would say, like miles across.
Well, there was the one that we talked about that it took all 3 of them to take out that was literally like almost as big as Tokyo 3, if not bigger.
I think they actually made that one larger in the rebuild, because I think that one was like miles across and not like city wide.
They must have then, because I know the rebuild version is definitely as big as the city. Like, once you stretch out those fucking tentacles it had. Oh yeah, fun bit about this part, where they had to, like, work together. We keep talking about that fight. That fight's fun. The thing's trying to impact the entire city and take it out with, like, essentially what would be, like, a fucking nuke explosion. 01's trying to, like, hold it back like Goku blocking fucking, a fucking ki blast or something. You got Rey coming in to like try and hold down the fucking core that keeps like rolling around like a marble, and Asuka finally coming in with the knife to kill it.
I can't find anything about the size of angels here. Maybe I'll need to look on different things, but Evangelion fandom does not have it. Sahaquiel, who the 8th angel is based on, didn't have a floating core. The core was more like an eyeball, but I don't think it had such rapid movement. I think it avoided something a little bit, but not so wild and wacky.
So, moving forward then. During this point, before third impact starts happening, is something that we forgot to mention, which is, one, Rey is absorbed by the Angel, right? Along with the Ava. Shinji goes crazy and is like, I'm going to save her. Literally starts third impact by saving Rey by like pulling what is essentially, I think, her soul or whatever out of the Angel and murdering the Angel.
Damn.
And then I guess the uniting of her soul with Shinji's Ava in like whatever fucking ascended state it's become triggers third impact.
So,
And then Kaoru comes out of nowhere and just stabs it and says, nah. I think he must have literally like dropped himself from the moon.
and he's also an Ava?
Yes, he is. He's in 06.
But
He's
Kaoru is an angel.
yes.
Oh, okay.
He's like, nah, bro, you ain't doing it this way.
Oh, and did you notice that the 10th angel that eats Rey is based on the same angel that has the S2 engine that Unit 1 eats?
I'm also curious. Question.
Yes.
Where was the Lance of Longinus located the first time in the original series?
Prior to episode 21, I believe it was holding Lilith up onto the cross.
That's what I thought. So then, for whatever reason, fucking Kaoru comes in with one from the moon.
But after episode, I want to say 21, there was the giant skybird angel that was like a quarter size of the moon or something like that, but it was like really enormous for angels. I think Rey goes down to Central Dogma, pulls out the lance, and uses that to kill the angel. And ever since then, the Lance of Longinus was on the moon.
So then you're lining up with the whole things are repeating cyclical situation then.
But I would say maybe because in End of Ava, to start Third Impact, Awakened Unit 1, or Semi-Awakened Unit 1, calls the Lance of Longinus to the moon to pierce Unit 1's core.
This is where I'm getting confused as far as, like, is this all happening on the same planet over and over again? As, like, the multitude of Kaoru coffins on the moons might imply? Or are these parallel dimensions?
I heard some theories say that since the water is red-hued in the beginning of the movie, there is a very similar scene to that in the end of Ava. So, some people theorize that this is a timeline that takes place after End of Ava, with everything cycling back.
Well, I mean, they said that the Red Sea thing was from Second Impact, though, in this one.
I know, but some people, like, this is just theories that some people have.
Mm-hmm. And with all the time that's literally between each movie, it's hard to pick out which theory is when each theory came out, right?
Yeah.
Like, for all we know, that was after the first movie. But yes, I'm sitting here just being like, it's hard to say. It could be looping, but even if it is looping, then that means, like, shouldn't there still be leftover shit from prior? Right? Like, shouldn't there be another central dogma from the prior loop? What is wiping it clean every time? Or are we talking parallel dimensions or something? In which case, what's with the Kaoru coffins?
And this time, I will truly make you happy.
Yeah.
And
well, like, here was the other thing. Like, Kaoru's an angel. In my mind, that kind of means his consciousness could literally flip from dimensions, as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe.
Like it's hard and unknowable, right? We don't know how they work.
Yeah, but I remember since I own 1.1 and 2.2 like on DVD, and I remember when I was first watching the second one, I'm like, wait, this time I will truly make you happy. What does that even mean?
Like I said, it could be that the world is looping, or it could literally mean that it's multidimensional and his consciousness just transfers over.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's an angel. Who fucking knows?
So, Ryan, movie 3. Now that third impact happened and has been prevented, what's the main goal of the villains?
Damn. I guess to beat the good guys. I don't know.
Fourth impact.
Fourth impact. So what's that? That's like a spiritual destruction.
Basically,
If, like,
since
Earth
third
or
impact
planet.
didn't go the way they wanted, fourth impact will be the end of the world now.
They just keep adding impacts.
Kind of.
Like a plan B or C.
Yeah.
Huh. And how many villains are in? Like, are all the villains teaming up?
Well, you could say that. I'm not too sure if you would say Gendo was the villain of it, because I definitely know that Sele was potentially the villain in the original series, because they were like, oh yes, everything. That just reminded me of something, but it seems that Sele wants to create Third Impact for their own purpose, and Gendo wants to create Third Impact for his own purpose. So, in the original series, Brandon, would you say Gendo was a villain or close to one?
I think they were both villains. Sealed, Sele, whatever you want to pronounce it as, and Gendo, right? I think they were both villains. It's just they had different end goals, but what they were doing was more or less the same to get there. Like, Gendo was always going to betray Seal to get his own way for how things were going to go.
Yeah, but they're not the whole way of, like, overtly wanting to destroy the world because they're villains. They have, like, Sele wanted to create Third Impact to ascend humanity so we could be on the level of gods.
Was it that? Because, at least from what I'm remembering of watching the rebuilds here, they talked about sacrificing old life for new life.
I believe it was, since in the original series, Unit 2 ate the S2 engine, which means it has unlimited power now, and not the 5-minute time limit that it has. And now that once all humanity has been tanged, we could be absorbed into Unit 1 and basically becoming a god.
Yeah, but you'd also become a singular, like, intelligence as well.
Yeah, and with everybody compensating for everybody else's flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was Sele's goal in the original series.
See, now, like, based on what we were hearing in the rebuilds, though, what it sounded like was that they were looking for a reset, which is, if that is what they were after, would then lead into things being in cycles.
Right.
If what I'm interpreting here is correct, and CLA was like, yeah, cool, reset everything. Things have gotten fucky, so let's just reset everything, you know? Which would make sense in that regard. It would also explain the thing that we've been seeing, which I don't think is ever properly explained, ghost/quantum ray, where when people start having mental breakdowns, there's a random ray in their heads talking to them.
I know quantum...
Or, like, watching them.
I know Quantum Ray, if that's what we want to call her, was in episode 1 and at the very end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, like, end of Ava thing, now, but supposedly, and I'm not too sure if this is fan theories or not, but the ray that Shinji sees in episode 1 is during Third Impact. Ray sends a bit of her consciousness back in time to maybe, like, warn Shinji or, like, see him at better times.
Is Better Times watching him while he's in a fucking hospital room? She showed up there a couple of times when he's, like, in the hospital bed.
I don't think that was in the original series, though.
No, but it's in Rebuild.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the original series now.
Mm-hmm. I didn't remember her popping up like that in the original series.
It was in episode 1, about the same time he sees Quantum Ray in the Rebuild one, so...
Yeah, but it's not consistent, though, right?
It only happened twice in the original series.
Whereas we're seeing it multiple times, and on top of that, from other characters' perspectives, not just Shinji's.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's never explained. Which, if we're talking about loops, who fucking knows? Maybe this is one of the other rays from one of the other loops.
So Orion, movie 3 begins 14 years later.
We're going in, we're saving Shinji, who's in some kind of weird-ass fucking cross box with Unit 1.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta save him. And Mari is there, because she was there in 2 when that third impact happened.
And she looks exactly the same.
Because apparently, I'm pretty sure this was in the original too, but piloting Avas makes you infinitely young. You will never age.
Oh, that's cool.
So you'll be 14 forever.
Wait, how does
forever underage? You can
sad.
never drink your alcohol. Meanwhile, there's Masato just chugging like gallons of beer and not feeling the least bit drunk.
How old is that character?
I want to say like 25.
Okay.
At least before the time skip here.
I honestly thought she was closer to 30. Let me just... Maybe that was... 29.
Was close.
And in Evangelion Anima, I'm not too sure what Anima means. She's 32, so...
I think Anima was like a separate thing. Like another like spin-off thing.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, that means what? She would have been in her 40s then?
Oh,
She would have been 39. Yeah, she would have been 43 then after the time skip, in which case I would say she looks no different.
Anima has the subtitle 3 years after. Interesting. I have no idea what Anima... I should really look into Anima now. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Well, when I first heard this is going to be 14 years later, I'm like, wait, what? How?
I mean, Third Impact was technically stopped.
Yeah.
They call it near Third Impact now.
Yeah.
So that means, like, things started to get bad, but you managed to pull it out of your ass and save it.
Yeah. And I found Toji's sister to be kind of cute. I think, like, Sakura was her name?
Yes.
Yeah, she was super adorable.
You mean would you get rid of Asuka instead? Would you leave Asuka behind for Sakura?
Fiery redhead or brunette who, like, she doesn't have enough development that I could, like, put her a trope on, but are you trying to imply, because I think she's cute, judging by her appearance, is she tsundere? I do not believe she is.
I'm not asking that. I'm trying to see if you drop your tsundere curse for her.
Maybe.
That's not good enough. We need a yes or no.
Yes, because Asuka is still physically 14.
Oh, so that's the excuse. Okay.
Yes, and I don't...
Hey, look, age of consent in Japan is 14.
I don't feel like being a pedophile.
Age of consent is 14. You're fine.
I thought they did something and they're trying to make it 18.
I mean, unless they've raised it since I last knew about it, maybe, but technically in Japan it was 14.
Oh.
So your excuse there is gone, unless you want to say cultural differences. Which reminds me, I wonder what was going on with Ken Ken.
Oh, that is interesting now that you do bring it up.
I mean, it was also the end of the world, so I mean, who the fuck cares about what old rules were at that point?
Yeah, because, like, he doesn't seem to bat an eye after seeing her naked.
Yeah, not at all.
Huh.
And she's literally giving him a nickname.
Yeah.
Like, a nice nickname.
Huh. I didn't really...
Did I break you a little?
A little bit, because I didn't really think about them as a couple in the third movie down the line, but I'm like, you know what? Now that you do say yes, that's interesting.
I do find it interesting that she went for the nerd boy, I'll be honest. But, you know.
Yeah. Well, Suzuharu was taken.
I mean, you know, Toji's still there. I mean, maybe at the time, I don't know.
But didn't they say after Near Third Impact happened, Toji and Hikari became an item?
Yeah, because they had to do stuff during, and it brought them closer together. But who the fuck knows what was going on with Asuka at the time? We don't really know much of what went on in that time skip period.
We need a 2.5!
We kind of do. Because apparently Misato and most of NERV has just been like, fuck you, Gendo, you did this. And they've somehow realized what he was up to. And now they've created their own thing called Veil. That's trying to kill NERV now. They're all anti-NERV now.
And they had a huge ass battleship Orion
that they apparently stole. And apparently they're also using Unit 01 that they've recovered to, like, save it and make it work. New power source.
Technically it's called Unit 1, but maybe in the Japanese they always added the 01. But
I mean, the fact that that's what it is in, like, all the subtitles is what I've always called them, like 01, 02, etc.
Okay. But the English dub calls them Unit 1, Unit 2, but it's fine, it's fine.
It's fine every time. Even in, like, what is it? Even in the wiki here, it calls it, like, Unit-04, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna call it that every time.
Okay. I'll let you run with that.
It's not super confusing. We get it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
We get the idea. But yeah, Rei's gone, even though Shinji saved her. Misato's treating him like a fucking curse. And also, she's the captain now.
Because he kind of is for causing Near Third Impact.
Ah, but Misato was encouraging him to do so.
Right. So,
like, I saw this and I'm like, did Near Third Impact change him to another parallel dimension or something? What happened? Yeah. Like, that was my first thoughts upon seeing this. Yeah. Before they were like, oh, it's been 14 years. I'm like, is Misato Gendo now? She's got glasses and everything. Right? Like, I'm just sitting there just thinking like, all right, parallel dimension, people's roles have shifted places.
So Orion, after Near Third Impact, which was supposed to be the end of the world, how fucked do you think the Earth is?
I'd say it's mostly on fire, and are most people dead by now?
I'll give you this, there's a lot of red everywhere.
So much red.
Asuka should love it, it's the best color ever, after all.
Did you notice her plug suit was kind of a little bit more revealing in the second movie?
I mean, the plug suit is quite literally fucking skin tight.
Yeah, but it had, like, the clear orange parts on it.
Yeah, it was like that test one that she was wearing to get into the fucking Angel at that point. I
would like, okay, besides fan service, why do you have clear orange?
Like, it wasn't even that. It was just the way it was ridged. It almost made it look like, all right, there's clear divides like these are regular clothes. But you still got on like a literal skin-tight suit anyway.
And the clear orange conveniently ends right above the crotch.
Of course. Which, you know, would have just been a smooth red anyway.
So, Unit 0... Or, no, it's not Unit 0. What is it?
It's 9.
So
Number 9.
Unit 9 comes in and says, like, Shinji, come with me.
It almost makes it sound like she's speaking into his head, but, like, I'm wondering if, like, she was announcing it over intercoms or whatever, and the others were just ignoring her.
Yeah, and it's actually Rei. But not.
No, is it real Rei or is it not real Rei?
Yeah, because she's wearing a black plug suit now.
Should also point out, we do find out this is not original Rei. This is another clone. Apparently number 6? So if the Rei we saw at the start was the original, they've gone through 4 other ones after that.
In the original series, they only had 3 Reis.
Did they? Because we saw the entire tank filled with different clones.
Because I know, going back to the original series, the one Ritsuko kills in the flashback as a child was Rei the First. The one primarily in the series is Rei the Second. And then I think what happens that Rei died. I think it was like the beam of light snake angel in the original series that kills Rei. After that, it's Rei the Third.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what you're saying is they've used that many, right? Not that there aren't more besides them.
No, they've used 3.
Yeah. Whereas in this one, they've used at least 6.
So, I don't know.
So something happened. Well, I mean, it's been 14 fucking years. I mean,
Yeah.
Should I be surprised that at least a couple of the clones have died in the process?
Maybe.
No. I do find it interesting, though, that Seele is still around, but they've shut up. And they're not talking to Gendo anymore. I will also point out, speaking of original versus this one, apparently Ritsuko doesn't have her obsession with Gendo anymore.
No.
Either that or whatever the fuck happened with Near Third Impact changed her perception on that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two. I did have the question in here where it's like, what happened to Lilith? Because she was a big thing during the first time Third Impact happened. Whereas, for some reason, with the Ava, with this Near one, it never happened. Like, nothing happened with her. She was still apparently sealed beneath original dogma.
So, Ryan, do you want to take a guess how implicationally gay Quaru is in this series?
Before that, more product placement. Yamaha pianos.
Oh, yes, he's there playing a piano.
Yep. I do like how my second note after this, what my second note after this is.
You want me to answer how gay a character is?
Yes.
Because there were, like, a lot of heavy implications in the original series that Quaru was gay, trying to turn Shinji away from Oscar and Rei so that he could have him.
Okay. So, this dude just walking around with no pants?
I mean, it feels like it half the time.
Yeah, because he is an angel, and he doesn't... Well, like...
You don't need pants.
Who knows what his attachments are?
Yeah.
He can just grow what he wants, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so he's like, let's play a piano duet.
Yeah, and we gotta get closer, and there's this whole montage of them playing piano and getting closer and being like a duet.
And it's like, no.
My notes in here say, Kaoru totally wants to bone down on Shinji. It's very clear. Like, they are way more clear about it on this one.
Yeah, but, didn't in the original series, like, Shinji was bathing or something, and, like, Quaru just, like, comes up, sits right next to him, Shinji's freaking out, and is like, what? Humans bathe together all the time. What's wrong
What,
with
man?
this?
You never did mixed bathing? What's going on?
Human male, human female, angel, question mark?
Eventually, we get to see, Shinji wants to see what happened, like, Ground Zero of Near Third Impact. And weirdly enough, there's just a random mouth lined with teeth in the ground?
What was up with that?
Don't know, never really explains it. There's also a weird planetoid, which I think is a weird-ass version of the moon? With, like, all the crosses and stuff on it?
It may have been the... No. The Black Moon was in the original series. Maybe it's...
Well, the Black Moon was shown to be like some kind of pyramid-shaped thing in Rebuild. Like, it's a big feature in the end.
But the Black Moon, or I believe the Egg of Lilith, which was in the original series as literally a black moon. So maybe the moon-like thing with the crosses is Rebuild's version of the Black Moon?
But we've seen the Black Moon in Rebuild. It's a triangle. It's a little pyramid.
I don't know.
It was where they put Unit 13 in the final movie, where it was like set up to reactivate. It was definitely not like the big white, what I assume is a moon with a bunch of red crosses over the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to be.
So, yeah, he mentions things like the Doors of Guff, which we don't find out much about until later. He also shows Shinji, like I said, Ground Zero, and my thought was like, well, what's the point of this? To get Shinji to trust him further?
I would say with Quaru, it would be Shinji to trust him more.
Oh,
we forgot.
Also, fun thing, I want to point this out, alright? I forget exactly when this happens. I think Kaoru's the one that shows him, but he shows him a Polaroid of himself as a child with his mom.
No, Fusky did. During the Shoji match.
Oh, was that? Yes, that was it. Point is, I was looking at that, and I'm like, wait a minute. Mari's in that photo. And she actually looks slightly older in that photo. Or maybe it's just the clothes she's wearing, but she's in the photo. Which would have been like, if we're going to talk from prior to the 14-year time skip, I'm going to guess that was 11 years prior.
Yeah.
Because Shinji is, I'm assuming, like maybe 3.
Around that, I would say.
So she's been around, unless she's another clone. But at the same time, the question is, when did they really start getting into the Ava research?
Yeah.
Like, it fucks with the timeline putting her in like that.
Oh, and I think
trying to piece it together.
We forgot to mention that Shinji has a explosive choker on.
Oh yeah, gotta make sure he doesn't do something stupid like pilot an Ava.
Or else he's dead.
But don't worry, Kaoru takes it off and puts it on himself. Because he's like, Shinji, you gotta trust me, man. I know what's best for you. I got this big old dick that just needs to go somewhere, you know?
And then Gendo says, like, hey, pilot Unit 13.
Which has a double entry plug system, rather than just a single one. Takes 2 people.
Quaru and Shinji, of course!
Because they're just a beautiful duet together. Also, apparently, like, the Rey clone has its soul in the wrong place? Was, I believe, the quote?
I don't even know what that means at this point.
I don't even know after the end of this what that means.
Yes, since this is Studio Kara, I think it's Kara, which is made of Gainax employees that Otto took with him to make his own studio, there is a bit of Gainaxiness to this.
A little bit.
Yeah, and Gainax, if you don't know, or if you forget, is known for having very, what the fuck endings.
I mean, that said, I don't think they're the writers.
But
that doesn't mean they didn't, like, input some side stuff, right? But, like, Anno's the one writing this.
I know, but it just seems that since it's called the Gainax ending, whoever works at Gainax, or worked at the time, was known for making endings that make little to no sense.
Again, that would be a writing thing, though. That wouldn't be the animation studio.
Then Gainax...
If Anno's the writer, then it doesn't matter.
Then Gainax must be somehow working on a lot of works back in the 90s that always had that ending.
Well, Gainax must have been, have their writers there. Like, it was clearly Anno who's writing this.
Right.
Why would, like, Gainax being the animation studio have anything to do with the story if they're not writing it?
I'm just saying the Gainax ending, and Anno used to work for Gainax.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a bit of a stretch, but that's all I'm saying, really.
Either way, this is less of a what the fuck ending than anything else. I'll tell you that one.
As compared to number 4?
What do you mean number 4?
Movie 4.
Oh no, I meant like as a whole. This is way less of a what the fuck ending than what you would expect out of them.
Yeah.
If this was straight Gynax.
Yeah.
Like this feels way more. I'll be honest. Even this feels like what we got at the end of movie 4 feels more conclusive than what we have at the end of Ava. Even.
But there is still some weirdness.
There are loose ends that are never tied up and never really clear. Yes, like Quantum Ray.
Yeah.
Or like, are we looping, or what is this?
So they need to get these spears of Longinus out of...
No, one is a Longinus, and the other one's supposed to be another spear called Cassius.
Ah, okay. And where do they get it out of? Well,
it's stabbed into Lilith's body.
Ah, so they need to draw it out to save the world.
To rewrite the world and fix things, or at least that's what Kwaru's told Shinji.
And Kwaru's like, wait a minute. Something doesn't feel right here. Hey, Shinji.
He notices the fact that they're the same spear. Like, it should be two different spears and they're the same.
Like, hey,
and he's trying to figure out what's going on.
Hey, Shinji, stop for a minute. No, Kwaru, I can't. I must rewrite the world.
Well, especially because Asuka's shown up and is trying to fucking kill them. To keep them from hitting it. Also, Mary's there too, I think. It's like, no, fuck off. You're not supposed to do this. What are you doing? You idiot. You're making it all bad again.
So, Orion, what happens when the spears
hold on. I kind of missed this in my notes. I had two big question marks here that should be screaming at Shinji, which is one, why can Karu... So when they went to go and see the shit that happened to at Ground Zero, right? Kwaru's able to walk outside without wearing any kind of safety suit, but Shinji needs one. Yeah?
Kwaru is an angel.
But did Shinji know that at the time? I don't think Shinji ever realized he was an angel until he was in the plug with him. I don't think it's ever mentioned. Also, I should point out, why does Kaoru keep using the word Lilin? Something Shinji wouldn't recognize at all.
And I do notice Asuka also started using that.
Well, yes, but this is 14 years later where Asuka would actually be aware of this type of stuff. Whereas Shinji was locked in a fucking box for 14 years.
Yeah.
Like a certain vampire we know, except that was 100 years. So my two biggest questions are, one, why aren't you questioning the fact that Kaoru's using this weird word you've never heard before? And two, why the fuck is he able to walk outside without what looks like a radiation suit that Shinji's having to wear? Like, it's kind of screaming at me of like, well, what the fuck? Not to mention that, you know, Kaoru just kind of disappears after the whole piano sessions. I get that we're doing a montage, but still. Also, this is around the time when Shinji realizes that this is not the same Rei that he thought he saved.
Yeah. It seems that everybody was telling me the truth. Rei's gone.
What else? Oh yeah, they had this thing about like an Adams vessel, and I was very confused about that when they were talking about like either Rei or 09. I wasn't sure which one it was for a little bit, and then it makes itself obvious later. So, you know, when
So Orion, what happens when they pull out the spears?
I have no idea. What happens?
Come on, you must be able to give some sort of guess.
I don't know, rainbow shootout?
I mean, there are rainbows.
Yeah, and fourth impact.
I mean, I guess this isn't a continuation of third. This is a different Ava and everything. I do want to ask this, right?
Yeah.
Like, one big thing. I have this in my notes in all caps, all right? Because there's a point where, what is it? I think it's Asuka says something along the lines of like, "What the fuck are you doing in there? Bad shit always happens when you're in an Ava," or something like that to Shinji, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have in all caps here. Boy, if only someone would be fucking straight with Shinji, maybe bad shit wouldn't happen. Because it seems like everyone's just not giving him information to work with.
Yeah.
Fucking Gendo won't talk to him. Fuyutsuki only gives him whatever Fuyutsuki feels like is necessary. Misato literally did not want to give him anything when she recovered him. Like Ritsuko, even Sakura wouldn't tell him shit. She was like his caretaker, but outside of that, she barely told him anything about the outside world.
Hey, don't pilot an Ava.
Don't pilot no Ava. I believe that was the actual subtitle I saw there.
Okay.
And it was, done in the same way each time. But anyway, point is, everyone just doesn't tell him shit, and because he has this lack of information, no wonder things go bad.
So yeah, fourth impact happens.
All the while, I believe Gendo's shutting down the seal monoliths. And he mentioned something about them giving humanity, like, civilization. So I'm like, wait, has Seal been around, like, forever? I thought they were just bigwig geeks that were funding Nerve.
I believe in the original series implies they've been around for centuries.
I don't remember that ever happening, because it seemed to me that they were like a religious cult almost that were trying to enact the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Well, maybe the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, and then like Sele came about from that, and they were like...
I mean, it could be, and they were just trying to bring it to fruition. But that would have been a generational cult. Not like potentially non-humans that have lived for years.
There are possibly some generational cults.
Oh, I'm not saying that's not the case, but I'm saying that the way it's implied in Rebuild, they may not even be human.
Ah, okay.
Like, they've lived for fucking centuries, and they may not be human.
Okay.
And have been guiding humanity as a whole. Also, Kaoru has become the 13th angel again, which, apparently can't stop ever.
Somehow he was the first, and I thought the first was Adam.
That's what confused me, because I'm like, wait, isn't he Adam? Wasn't that the idea before?
Maybe? I don't know.
I did have one last question before movie 3 ends, which was, so where did the other spear go, or did it even exist?
Maybe since they were two Longinus, they somehow merged into one? I don't know.
Look, movie 4 makes the whole spear thing even weirder.
Yeah? So Ryan, do you want to guess what movie 4 is about?
Impact 5.
Close! Since fourth impact gets prevented by Quaru activating the collar and blowing himself up, yep, Gendo's like, well, shit, this isn't going the way I planned, and now since Sele's not around anymore, it's time for an additional impact.
I should point out the final little bit that happens in 3 is that Kaoru dies. He blows himself up in the pod. Shinji sees it, and now he's just fucking traumatized to the point of just being like, life is fucked. Just kill me. Like, there's no point in living. Asuka manages to pull him out of Unit 13 and then recovers him later, but at this point, also Rei ejects herself. Like, she starts having a will of her own now. So now it's just Asuka, Rei, and, like, I just want to die now Shinji, who is walking across a barren landscape trying to get recovered by Misato and everyone else. And that's how we end movie 3. On a bright note.
The brightest note. Maybe. Yeah, so we find out there's still pockets of humanity left.
We find out that they're trying to fix Paris at the start, and I'm like, why Paris specifically? We do find out later. Apparently, it's to get new Ava parts to fix up the units that were destroyed in the last battle against 13.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently they found a way to like reverse this reddening of the world, or the corization they call it.
And here comes a bunch more Avas that...
Where did they come from? Gendo, what have you been doing for the last 14 years? How are you mass producing these Avas?
And these Avas do not look humanoid.
They got humanoid legs, but they're like giant batteries or something on the top of that.
Yeah, and they have like weird numbers, all of which are 4, because 4 is death in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
So there's like the 44, there's like the 444B and the 4444C.
Yep. And then these guys got a big old gun that are charged by the Ava batteries. And they go firing it off, and it's fun.
Oh boy.
The point where Mary literally rips up the top of the Eiffel Tower and uses it to try and spear through them.
That was amazing.
That was sweet. I'm like, wait a minute. Did she just grab part of the Eiffel Tower? Because you don't see it at first. You just see the tip, and you're like, is that? Did she really? And then they show you, like, the ripped off part from the tower.
Ryan, Eiffel Tower spear. Go.
Who's wielding that?
Good old Mari, our new girl.
In Unit 8.
And it's the size of the Eiffel Tower?
She's ripped off a piece that is at least 3 times the size of her Ava from the top.
The fuck? Do they use, like, the pyramids or any other?
No, they've only gone to Paris. I don't think they go anywhere
Okay.
else besides Paris and
They should have grabbed
Japan.
all the 8 wonders of the world off the planet.
Oh, they gotta use it as a weapon, though.
Yeah, they fought with them. They just
Oh my
smash
God.
into each other.
Just somebody picks up the fucking Sphinx. I'm gonna smash you.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Now I'm thinking of G Gundam, except with Avas, and they fight each other with landmarks.
That would be sick.
Sphinx cannon!
Apparently, they figured out how to restore the city, which is interesting. Like, it doesn't bring anything that was living outside of, like, plant life back, but it clears it out so that way they can actually breathe the air and get rid of, like, the red shit that's been covering up everything.
And it somehow, like, brings the inorganic things like roads and buildings back to quote-unquote life again.
Yeah, this is about the point where I start questioning what is Mary's purpose. Where I'm just like, what is her affinity with Shinji? Why did she exist in that Polaroid? What the fuck is she? And why was she interested in getting to the Japanese branch in the first place?
And it never really gets explained that well.
No, you got some hints and pieces to put together, but good luck. Because I'm like, is she some relation to Shinji? Because she's in the picture. Also, it seems like the Ava pilots are immune to the corization, like walking through it. Or at least maybe it's because of the dummy plug, the plug suits.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but they seem to be immune. Also, it's interesting because some random debris is just kind of floating in these red zones. Like, to the point of just like train cars and regular cars.
That's what confused me. I'm like, what's going on with that anti-gravity stuff?
Yeah, what's the gravity situation doing?
So, the first half of the fourth movie is basically a humanity is alright.
Some parts of humanity are trying to survive even in this shithole.
Yeah. And Ray, or Ray 6, is having kindergarten level of, ooh, what's this? What does goodbye mean?
Yes, here we go. We get to have a Nightmare Before Christmas style kind of thing of like, ooh, what's this? What's this? Kind of situation.
There's white things everywhere. What's this? What's this?
Magic in the air? I don't know.
Yeah. I completely
Okay,
forget
I
that.
guess.
I don't remember the lyrics, but yes, I remember the tune and the what's this part.
Yeah,
But
so do I.
we have like an entire montage of shit going on. We re-find Toji and Kensuke, which they kind of hinted before that Toji might be dead because they gave him one of Toji's old
School uniforms.
school uniforms to wear, and I'm like, did he die? Did they just like salvage this from his death? But no, he's fine. He apparently grew up, got married, has a kid. We find Kensuke, who takes in Shinji, and in the meanwhile, like you said, Ray 06, I have this in my notes, is kind of like discovering life, all the while Shinji's wallowing in like his own self-hatred and wanting to not be alive.
And Asuka is still Asuka.
Yeah, Asuka doesn't give a shit.
Except, since she's mentally 28, she calls like Shinji a brat more than an idiot.
So it's weird. Asuka kind of still cares about him. Like, you can see that much in that she's still watching over him. And at one point force feeds him so he won't fucking die because he's refusing to eat or do anything.
And was that product placement with something?
I'm not sure. I didn't see like a logo on there. If there was anything with those rations, it was just Japanese writing and I couldn't read it.
Oh, okay. Because maybe it was something like Calorie Mate. Or...
Also, she calls Shinji a mock Lilin, which isn't very clear. That's also something that's never really brought up or explained. Because at that point, it makes me be like, wait, did he like not become human, or is he like half and half after the whole near third impact situation? Wasn't very clear. Also, we find out that Rei's clones are pre-designed to like Shinji, which was interesting.
Which was really interesting.
It makes some sense in that like she's derived from his mom's DNA. So here's the thing, like after we have this little back and forth with Rei and Asuka, I had some questions. So I'm like, so in my notes, quote, so none of the Eva pilots are human, or at least not fully human.
Anymore.
They have limiters, just like the Evas, designed in compliance with human cognitive behavior, and they have inefficient emotions. And in parentheses, I have, is this Asuka's opinion?
Maybe.
So yeah, I was like, okay, interesting. I think later on we find out that she's specifically referring to herself and Rei, not including Shinji in this. Although the fact that she calls him a mock Lilin makes me question that at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure.
Oh, and...
Also, I have one last one, which means, like, is there a reason that Shinji's the only male pilot? Because I'm not going to count Kaoru since he's an angel.
Yeah. Oh, and there is a little bit of a pun significance to the Japanese title of this. Did you notice how it's a weird colon with two lines?
I did not notice that, no.
Okay, that is a musical term which means end or end and repeat. And I did not know this. The size of the bars, since the first one is a thin line, the second one is a thicker line, that is the UPC code for number 4.
Huh.
I did not notice that. And I'm just like, really? That is kind of clever. Since this is and repeat, that also brings in, is this time loops?
Yep. During this montage that Rei has of learning to be a person, they talk about giving her new names, and she's been like, I'm not Rei Ayanami, thanks to Shinji screaming it plenty of times. Finds out we never get a name for her, though. Never gets a new name. Could have at least given her a new first name.
Something interesting, Shinji's mom was slightly different. She was Yui Ayanami.
And that was her maiden name, wasn't it?
No. Yeah, that was her maiden name. In the original series, she was Yui Ikari, and Gendo took her name.
Huh.
So
wait, did we ever get Gendo's last name?
I think it's Rokobungi. They only brought it up like once in the original series during the flashback episode.
Weird. Okay.
So, and I'm just like, wait a minute. So are they like even diving it deeper that Rei is a clone of Yui?
I feel like that's the case, yes.
Because like there are some points in this movie franchise where it's like, hey, you can watch this by itself without knowing about Ava. Everything will be fine. And then there's points when it's like, no, you need to watch Ava or else you won't understand what the hell is going on.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is a part where we, so the next thing we find out is that there's random headless Ava wandering around in the red zone.
Yeah?
Not really sure what that's about.
Even though it's not explained, Ryan, do you want to, like, speculate on what these headless Avas are?
Are they aliens?
I mean, all Avas are technically an alien in some way, shape, or form.
Are they, like, dimensional beings?
I have no idea. Apparently they were buried beneath the ground. and they've been like resurfacing for some reason, which, you know, maybe that's something to do with things being rewritten or redone in loops. I don't know.
And maybe some sort of like dimensional beings from like other timelines. Maybe.
Oh yeah, also we get that clone Ray seeing like original Ray or whatever outside her quantum Ray, I should say, outside of her tank at one point.
Yeah.
Right before she pops.
Yeah.
Because she realizes that she's not going to last. And Shinji finally is like accepting her as a person now after recovering from his whole I hate everything, I need to die kind of despair. Yeah, she just kind of pops because apparently she wasn't stable.
She tangs herself.
Interestingly enough, like the entire suit goes from black to white for some reason.
Yeah.
Cool visual, but not really clear what the reasoning is.
Yeah. I was like, wait, is this to show that she is now the real Rei right before she dies? Like, she's accepted herself as an Ayanami?
I have no idea. I have a big blank spot in my notes because shit goes real fast and it's not really super interesting at this point. You know, Shinji decides to go back, gets the collar put back. Well, not even the collar this time. Gets put in lockdown in the ship. You know, Asuka and Mari are like, hey, we gotta go and take care of whatever the fuck Gendo's doing because he's gonna start end of the world all over again.
So he could see Yui.
Yep. Which I don't know how that works when she's already dead.
Like soul something?
Are you extracting her out of Ava 1? Is that the idea?
I don't know.
What was the other thing? We get to the point where we're in this, like, we're back at, like, the original place where Second Impact happened on, like, the North Pole or the South Pole. I forget which one.
South.
We enter into what is, like, the Minus universe or something?
Yes, what is this?
Whatever's on the other side of the doors of Goth, that's what it is my understanding.
Mm-hmm. And
a place where humans are not allowed to exist.
I don't know what religion or lore this is, but the Chamber of Goth is where all souls are before they're born.
Which implies, like, reincarnation, maybe?
And apparently, according to this religion / spirituality or something, but when the Chamber of Goth is empty, the world will end.
Well, I mean, when there's no more souls, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think, like, in the end of Ava, they were saying, like, the Chamber of Goth has been emptied, or I think, like, that was just one of the lines they were saying, like, as Third Impact was starting in. So I'm not too sure what the Doors of Goth and the Chamber of Goth, if they're related.
I mean, I assume one opens to the other. So here's a fun bit. This is where I talk to you about there being a big plot hole unless something's wrong here.
Okay.
So Shinji's still in lockdown. He's not allowed to pilot shit. We're just going to keep our eyes on you, make sure you don't fuck up. Mary and Asuka go to pilot their Avas. They stop by Shinji's lockdown cell on the way. Mari takes a good old sniff and is like, oh, you smell like an adult now. Ooh. And then they leave to go pilot their shit. The whole plan is we got to take out number 13 because that's the key to everything. Here's where I'm confused. So Asuka says something when she goes to try and, like, kill 13, who is just having to lay there waiting for reactivation. Where it's like, wait, this isn't a single entry plug system. And I'm sitting there like, wait, hold on, you should be fully aware of this. 1, you fought 13 before. 2, literally, when she was handing over the information to Sakura, the information from the battle data or whatever, and the note from Toji, Sakura tells her how the second pilot of Unit 13 blew up in front of Shinji's eyes. This is why we don't need to give him the collar again, because it should be traumatic enough, right? The actual quote I have written down is, Magicopy has a record of the choker activation. it shows that the other pilot blew up right in front of Mr. Akari's eyes. They know, and here's where that quote ends. They know there were 2 pilots in Unit 13. Asuka is literally hearing this herself. She knows there's 2 entry plugs, which to me means that what follows after this may not have ever happened if she is as aware of this as she should be, right? Like, she literally goes full angel, like accessing the corruption or whatever that she got when she was eaten or absorbed by the parasite. And tries to kill Unit 13 only to find out that, like, oh shit, there's not a single entry plug system, there's a different system. And I'm like, you would have done something different and potentially killed 13 here and now. Because you know for a fact that there were 2 pod systems going on here.
She also has the 9th angel under her eye patch.
I assume that's from the corruption that she had one being absorbed.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was left over. They couldn't purge her of it. And I assume that eye patch is literally there to contain it. Like, it's not just a simple eye patch.
Yeah.
My point being, this whole series should have ended differently, or at least the situation should have gone differently, because she should know that this is not a single plug. This is double plug. She's been told directly. It seems like a massive fucking plot hole.
So Shinji goes into minus space and has a duel with Gendo.
Oh, you might want to back up a second, because we find out that we've been questioning this too, because Asuka's had a different last name since the original.
Yeah, she's Asuka Langley Shikanami now.
Yes.
Instead of Asuka Langley Soryu.
Yes. Which we find out is because she's also clone. And it's not her mother inside 02, it's her original.
So does that mean Shinji is a clone?
Solid question. It also leads to the question of what we know of Asuka, even to the point of, like, her apparently as a child seeing Shinji, as we see in a flashback at one point. Are those implanted memories? Because why would they leave a clone out as a little child?
So Orion, Gendo and Shinji start battling in Evangelions in all the past locations.
Did you forget the point where Gendo shows up and is like, hey Masato, what's going on? And then Ritsuko just blasts his head off?
Oh yeah! Oh my god, yes!
That entire scene where he literally has his brain explode out of his head and he just puts it back in?
I think this broke Orion.
See, I think he's been broken.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like you guys just read me the Bible. Or something, and,
I mean, there's a lot of Bible references.
Yeah, but I mean, or like a math formula.
I
feel right now.
I have written down, right, that, oh shit, Gendo's a robot. I'm getting vibes from the Major from Hellsing Ultimate. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Because the first shot made it look like it was an electrical thing, because he's got like a weird visor on instead of his regular glasses. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, wait a minute, no, he's fucking something else once that visor comes off. He ain't no robot.
I don't think we find out what he is, because he just like picked part of his brain up and was just like shoving it back in his head.
I just dropped it back into the hole that's in the back of his head, and I'm just like, did you even need that anymore? He says he, like, did something to abandon his humanity or something. Yeah. And now he's beyond human. And it's like, all right, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
The visuals are nice.
So, Units 1 and 13 start fighting in locations we've seen, like Misato's apartment.
But you're forgetting, they're all, like, fucking studios. Because, like, when you break through the wall, there's, like, the cameras and shit behind it.
But who is filming this? What does this fighting in the studio actually mean? How are these, like...
I think, like, the idea is, like, this isn't real, this is made because we can't understand what's going on around us. This is a way that we can understand it. I think it's the way that, like, Shinji's perception is, like, this isn't the real, it's like a movie set. I believe it's just the way Shinji's perceiving it.
So he's perceiving additional impact as a movie.
Well, the minus universe or wherever they're at is, anyway.
Oh, because it's beyond comprehension.
It's beyond human comprehension, and this is the way he's seeing it.
Did you find it interesting, like, all the past locations they were fighting in?
I was very confused at first because they started fighting in the city, and I'm like, these things are moving around and not getting crushed like they should. Like, you're seeing a building just skate along the ground, and like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's when it, like, reveals that, oh, this is just like a movie set. Okay, now, alright, cool.
And I was like, man, I'm definitely getting some Shin Godzilla vibes from this.
They are totally the spin-offs that Anno is like, this is what you should do. Human-sized Evas.
Yeah.
Ava's as, you know, a Shin Godzilla kind of setting.
But, like, some of the angles during the final fight, I'm like, oh, I can tell Anno was, like, had some of his Godzilla experience with some of this stuff, even though he may not have been the director, but he's like, hey, could you maybe shoot from this angle and just see how it works out?
Yeah. I will point out that, like, some of what Gendo's saying is, like, this place is a place where, like, you can bend fate to your will or something. There's also, like, a point where he's like, your mother was here at one point, and I'm like, when the fuck did his mom get here?
And while all this is happening, a photorealistic Ray is, like, coming up from the ground.
Yeah, that goes fucky. That was real fucky, because, like, the hair and everything else is fine. It's just the face.
Yeah?
It looks real fucked.
I was like, what? Oh my god, like, this is an impact, and all the impacts have been, like, fucking in one way or another.
I am curious about what Gendo's actual plan is, because he mentions killing gods, and I'm like, but we never see any gods.
Right.
What is a god in this universe? Because we never see it.
Is Unit 1 a god? Wait, no. It never got the S2 engine.
Well, it also says it gets close to a god. It isn't one. Like, when Near Third Impact is happening, I believe the line is like, it's getting as close to a god as it could be. And it's not. Also, fun thing, we found out Mary's name is in fact Mary Iscariot.
Oh, nobody's called me that in so long.
Yeah, she also knows Fuyutsuki, which, you know, thanks to that photo, we kind of assumed. Knows Shinji from when she's a child. Fuyutsuki got whatever she wanted, so for whatever reason, Fuyutsuki's doing what she wants.
So how old is Mari?
At least, like, 44.
Oh.
And again, what's her actual connection here? Is she Shinji's aunt?
I wouldn't. But then if, okay, maybe through marriage she didn't have the name Ayanami, but...
Like, she could have been Gendo's younger sister, too. Besides, she could have changed her last name for all we know. Yeah. She never actually talks or sees Gendo, ever.
But she does call him Gendo-kun.
Does she say that name? I know she references him, but I don't remember what, like, suffix or anything is that she gives.
I thought she said Gendo-kun at one point, which is something that you would call a younger male.
Well, and actually, here's the interesting thing. Fuyutsuki calls Yui-kun. So I looked up the reasoning for it. Apparently, besides just calling a male person this, it also has another use for seniors addressing juniors.
Ah.
So the kun may not actually mean anything in that regard.
Okay.
As far as, like, relation or anything.
Oh, I didn't know juniors to seniors. I always thought kun was like a young...
Reverse. Seniors to juniors.
Oh. Yeah, I always heard it in the young male.
Yep.
thing. Same. Huh.
That's why I looked it up, because I was confused when he said Yui-kun, and I'm like, wait, what? Isn't that for males? What does that mean for Shinji's mom?
Huh.
So yeah, for whatever reason, Mary then, like, absorbs the other...
Units?
What, 9, 10, 11, and 12?
Apparently becoming
units?
Evangelion final?
Something, or the final Evangelion, anyway.
Yeah.
So Shinji creates a new world without Ava's, now that he's, gotten control with a brand new spear and shit, because apparently, fun things, apparently there were like 6 spears that were left behind for in this minus world or whatever.
And everybody's like, 6 spears? What's going on?
Yeah, we only have names for 2 of them.
Yeah, and he solves everybody's problems?
I don't know, because all of a sudden, once he does this, and apparently Mary shows up at some point with her final Evangelion, bringing herself into this new world, which means that, from what I understand, both she and Shinji are the only ones that are fully aware of what happened before Shinji rewrote the world.
Yeah, and he's talking to Gendo, finds out Gendo used to be just like Shinji, keeping a cassette player to close himself off from the world.
Yeah, he thought everything else was just a problem. All he really cared about was learning, and what was the other one? Music. Learning and music were the only things he cared about.
And then, he solves Asuka's problems by,
making her a real girl.
And then there's, long-haired adult Rei?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know. She's been aging, apparently, even though she's a clone, number 1. And 2, she shouldn't age at all because of the curse.
Yeah, and then everybody's in, some warehouse with, clothes.
You forget she's also holding, a weird doll for some reason.
Yeah.
Like a baby.
And there's, everybody, in a warehouse with, closing doors behind them. And then we have the staple of Evangelion, extremely limited animation, which devolves into storyboards.
Yep. And then Mari shows up and things go better. And we're suddenly in, the real world with just the characters painted over top of it.
And do you think that the storyboard was a reference to the original series and them running out of budget?
I feel like it was, at least in part. I'm not sure what else it would mean, aside from, the previous world being wiped away, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. So they fix everything. Gendo and Yui impale themselves with a spear so that Shinji could rewrite the world.
Yes, because Yui took control of Unit 01 because her soul is in it.
And he chooses to make a world without angels, without Avas, so everything could be perfect.
But would it, though? Because, without Avas would even... Here's one of my questions, actually, right? Here's what we're assuming, based on the way that they're talking. It seems like Asuka gets with Ken, with Kensuke. Rei and Kaoru, apparently in the thing, look like they're talking together, and they are an item.
And in that scene, Asuka is in the background,
sitting on her own.
Yeah, but I didn't see her at first, and then I was reading oh, Asuka was there too. I'm like, wait, where?
I had to rewind a second because I'm like, hold on, was that who else is there?
Yeah,
but it's only those 3. But my then question is but wait, would Hachi, Ritsuko, and Misato have ever met each other without the Avas?
Good point.
In which case, I'm like, but does that matter? Because Shinji would have technically made it, willed it to happen anyway. Because that would mean that Haji and Misato's son never exists.
Huh. And
otherwise.
And then, as a callback to earlier...
Also, wait. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of other things here. So also, does that mean that Shinji's parents are alive in this version? Or are they dead because they sacrificed in the extra impact, permanently?
Both.
Are they even together because of without the Avas?
But then how could Shinji have been born?
Hey, look, man, he's one of the few that literally pulled himself through from the other world. He and Mary are literally from the prior world. It may not matter.
Then I don't know.
Also, apparently, they've fallen in love with each other all of a sudden.
Because as a callback to earlier in the movie, Mari sneaks up behind Shinji, covers his eyes, and says, guess who this is? And Shinji says, a gorgeous girl with big boobs.
He also still has the collar on, even after all this.
Somehow?
Even though they've apparently aged up. in the meantime.
So he's been wearing this collar for, like, however many years?
Or at least whenever his consciousness returns to this body. Although it's weird, because then he shouldn't have the collar.
Right?
I don't know. It's very strange.
Because Avas don't exist?
Yep. So why does the collar exist? Like, unless your body is from that prior universe.
Yeah.
Or that prior world, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they run off into, like, the real world, and then that's it. We never learn anything more about who the fuck Mary is, nor Ghost/Quantum Ray. Like, those are the two big things where I'm just like, do you have this entire main character who has absolutely no background? Like, you've incorporated it little by little, but there's very, very little. Like, in flashbacks, we see that it's literally Mary that introduces Gendo to Yui.
Yeah.
And Koitsuki. So I'm just sitting there like, so she's at least as old as like, at least 44 years old or something. Which means that almost immediately prior to this, they must have gotten into, like, the Ava experimentation, and she must have been given the curse. Otherwise, she would be older. Because the flashback shows her being about as old as she is now, if not strangely older. By a year or two, I would say.
So wait, so is Mari still... If this is Mari from consciousness set into that, so is she, like, consciously, like, 50 now, while Shinji is, like, consciously 20-something, or what?
Something like that. It's still kind of fucked if she is actually related to him by blood in some way, too. Because, again, it's not very clear, and it's kind of surprising that Gendo would give a shit of her poking him and actually paying attention if she wasn't related somehow.
We'll have to wait until the next iteration of Ava to see if anybody does anything with Mari, and more will be...
Technically, there were precursors to Mari.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's in Anima, for example.
Oh.
Or at least a version of her.
And there was the Girlfriend of Steel.
Yeah, there was one other one. There's one other thing. I don't know if it was that one, but there was another one where he mentioned, like, a character with, like, Mary's name.
Huh.
What was it? One of them said it wasn't canon to the actual story, but it was just in there, like, as an extra chapters or something. Because I was trying to look online for, like, who the fuck is Mary, and nobody seems to have any idea, or anything concrete anyway.
So, Ryan, even though your brain is completely and utterly melted by this, would you have any interest in watching these?
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like he would have to watch the original
I feel like
first.
This episode is longer than all those movies combined.
Sorry?
It's definitely not. In fact, it's just barely longer than one of them. They're anywhere from an hour and a half to, like, 2.5 hours.
And actually, the fourth movie is, I think, depending on the cut of the movie, maybe the second or third longest animated film ever.
Really? Which animated movie is the longest?
I believe it is one of the Haruhi Suzumihara movie, and I believe the Starship Yamato movie. I don't have the name of it on hand. Depending on the cut that you watch in the Yamato movie, that one is like 2 minutes longer than this. Or the Haruhi Suzumihara movie. All of those are about 2 hours 40 minutes.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, hopefully next time will be a lot more easy to understand. I'm thinking it will.
We can only hope and pray.
Yep, so, next time we will be fighting fires in the future. So, join us next time for more anime fun.
Assuming they made it this far into the video.
Yeah. Hey, if you watch this in 2 or 3 chunks, that's fine.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end with us all.
Yes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Once this video ends, Fifth Impact is happening.
Oh no! No.
If you listen to this all the way through, message me. I will send you $50. But you have to message me. So you have to figure out how to contact me.
I was wondering how you're going to slip out of this one.
All right, we'll catch everybody later.
Bye-bye.
See you.